Hi, hope you're having a great day. You're watching JUG Entertainment, and for this video, I'll be talking to you about the box office of this past weekend and breaking it out for you. So I break down the opening weekend of Uncharted and Dog, as well as the holds of movies like Marry Me, Then of the Nile, and Spider-Man at Home, which is doing amazing. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be all about. It's going to be a very interesting and informative video, so hopefully you enjoy it. And if you do end up enjoying it, then please don't forget to leave a like. It would be very helpful, so please leave a like if you end up enjoying it or find it informative. As well as subscribe for a lot of other content. I do a box office video very often, so subscribe for all those box office videos. And lastly, make sure to tell me down in the comments which movie did you see this past weekend. If you saw Uncharted, tell me what you think about it. I was definitely very curious to hear that movie's thoughts, as well as any other movie that I mentioned. Tell me your thoughts on that movie if you went to go see it. And so yeah, let's get started. Alright, so let's start with Uncharted. And Uncharted is the biggest movie this past weekend, both internationally and domestically. And the movie opened with $44 million on its 3-day opening weekend, which is actually really strong for the movie, and $51 million on its 4-day holiday President's Day opening weekend, which is really good, especially when you consider that the predictions were like 30 to 35 million. So the fact that it did 51 million is really awesome and really incredible. Like, wow. The movie definitely did really strong. The movie skewed more male, with 60% of the audience being male, or more than 60% of the audience being male, which is interesting. Especially since people usually generalize some Hollywood girls, the fact that this movie had a lot of males go to the thing is actually very interesting. And roughly 70% of the audience was proven to be 35 or under on age, which proves that to have a box office hit, you have to have young moviegoers go see your movie over older moviegoers. This was proved in the past 2 weeks whenever Jackass came out and Moonfall, and whenever they were battling out, Jackass managed to get the younger audience to go see the movies, while Moonfall failed at that, and that's why one of them became a box office failure, one of them became a box office hit. If you want more analysis on that thing, you can check out this box office breakdown whenever I broke down both of those movies' debuts and how this proves that. But here we see that again, that young moviegoers are the ones that are carrying the box office hits right now during the pandemic, which is really interesting. The movie also earned $51.4 million internationally this weekend, plus the millions of dollars that we got back in last weekend, made the international box office of $88 million total, which is really good. That's a really nice international box office. So when you add the international box office plus the domestic box office, we get a total of $139 million, which is just insane. It already crossed the century mark, which is really good and everything. So that's just incredible. The movie does have a budget of $120 million, and usually you kind of have to like double your budget to start making some profit. So this still has a couple way there to make some profit. However, this movie did have an amazing achievement, and that is that it landed a release date in China on March 14th. That doesn't guarantee that's going to be a hit, but just the fact that this movie landed a release date on China is really incredible, especially since a lot of movies have not been able to land release date there. Spider-Man at Home wasn't able to land a Chinese release date. Shang-Chi, Venom: The Carnage, all those big movies have not been able to land a Chinese release date. So the fact that this movie did is really incredible, and it's definitely going to boost its box office. Even if it's going to be just by just a little, it's going to boost its box office, which is really good for this movie. The sequel is already being teased, and if the holds aren't good enough for next weekend, I definitely expect that to happen for sure. And also, this just is going to be amazing for Tom Holland, who hasn't yet signed a contract for the next Spider-Man trilogy, because he was waiting for this movie to come out. It was a risky play because he wasn't sure if it was going to be a hit or a flop, but it actually became a really big hit, so that's incredible. So the Tom Holland is definitely gonna get like the biggest paycheck of his life playing the next Spider-Man trilogy, which is just awesome. Wow, he's gonna get such a huge paycheck. He's gonna be super rich after that. Yeah, this movie is definitely gonna help that. So congratulations. The audience seems to be divided on opinions for this movie. Like, it's been like kind of good and then bad, and it's like this whole thing is like really messy there. But just expect the sequel, because the movie's doing super good box office wise, which is all that matters to Sony, I'm sure. And second place domestically was Dog, a movie that I didn't know was going to come out, but that just goes to show you that this movie definitely has star power, so that's really good. And the movie opened with $14.9 million on its 3-day opening weekend, which made it be second place this weekend, and $18 million on its 4-day opening weekend, which is just really good. That's actually really good. The movie had a budget of $15 million, which, like, it's a really cheap movie, and it already past that, which is really, really incredible. So this movie's definitely gonna make a lot of profit, and we're starting to see this pattern in Hollywood where they're making really cheap movies, and they're making a lot of money because they're getting a lot more money than they put into. We saw that with Scream this year already. We saw that with Marry Me, which I'm gonna talk about right in a little bit, and we're seeing that with this movie. So you can definitely start noticing a pattern that cheap movies are the way that they're gonna go at, besides blockbusters. So it's gonna be like the huge blockbusters, and it's gonna be like really cheap movies, and this just goes to prove it. And this movie is definitely gonna make a lot of money, especially with the incredibly strong word of mouth. This movie has an A- on Cinema Score, which is really, really good. 70% on Rotten Tomatoes critic-wise, and 90% on audience score. So honestly, that's just really, really, really good. So great job for Dog. It's gonna be, it's definitely a hit, and it's definitely gonna make a lot of money. So that's just a really nice movie and box office wise. Moving on to the third spot on the box office, and this one was actually really, really surprising for me because third spot was Spider-Man No Way Home, which is just insane. Like, how is it still third spot? That's just incredible for the movie. The movie only dipped 4.9% this past weekend, which, like I said, is insane. 4.9%. That's just crazy. Like, the movie is an absolute hit. Like, wow. It earned $7.1 million on its 3-day weekend and $8.5 million on its 4-day weekend, which is just amazing. Like, that's incredible, incredible, incredible. Now it has a total of $771.4 million, beating Avatar's $760.5 million, which it beat it this past Valentine's, which is just insane. Like, it's now the third biggest movie domestically ever, just behind Star Wars Force Awakens and Avengers Endgame. So that's just insane. The movie is an absolute hit, and it's just incredible to see how much money this movie is making. Internationally, the movie has made $1.06 billion so far, for a global total of $1.831 billion, which is just insane. Like, the movie is an absolute hit, and it's really a huge hit. It's just incredible to see how well it's doing. So yeah, that's incredibly awesome. So yeah, that Sony definitely did the right decision by not putting Morbius right now and delaying it, so that Spider-Man Home can really get as much money as possible. And with this, you can definitely expect Sony to be playing the next Spider-Man No Way Home, the chapter, because trust me, this is making so much money. And you can definitely also expect them to be making like deals to bring Andrew back, because he definitely got a lot of hype. So just saying. But yeah, moving on to the next movie, and that's going to be Den of the Nile, which dropped down to 4th place the second weekend, but with an incredible drop, which was at 49.3%, which is really good. It wasn't even at 50%, and it's during the pandemic where movies have been dropping on its very high 60s. So that's really incredible for the movie. That's really good. The movie made or earned $6.5 million on its 3-day weekend, and then $7.5 million on its 4-day weekend, which is really good, like I said. So that's really nice for the movie. This puts the movie total domestically at $26.2 million, which is a really strong number. That's actually a really good number. However, it's even stronger internationally. Internationally, the movie's doing really awesome. Domestically, it's like doing, yeah, it's fine, it's doing good, I guess, but internationally, it's doing pretty strong, where the movie has already made $49.9 million, which is really strong. This puts the total box office of the movie at $76.1 million, which is really good. That's really nice. The movie has a budget of $90 million though, so it kind of has to double that, so to make some money. So we'll see how that ends up going. This weekend was really strong, so we'll see if it can get more money as it stays holding bigger and bigger, especially with next weekend where there's no competition. I think it at least has one more good weekend where it can make a lot of money. So that's really good for this movie. Then on 5th spot, we have Jackass Forever, which dropped down to 5th place this weekend, but it's already on its 3rd weekend, which makes sense. Dropping only 35.9%, which is a really nice hold, earning $5.2 million on its 3-day weekend, and then $6.1 million on its 4-day weekend, which is really good. So yeah, that's pretty good for its 3rd weekend. That's pretty good. Domestic total now stands at $47.7 million, which is really nice, like I said. However, internationally, the movie isn't doing so hot, only having $13.3 million internationally. So it's doing pretty bad. However, worldwide, the movie has a total of $61 million, which is really good. And the movie only has a budget of $10 million. So that already, like, what, 6 times it, which is just incredible. So honestly, it doesn't matter that it's not doing that good internationally, because holy crap, it already six times. I don't know how much that is. I can't say quadruple, because I don't know what 6 is, but like it's already did 6 times more what the budget was, which is just incredible. So that's great for this movie. Definitely a box office hit. And it goes back to what I was telling you about Hollywood kind of going to cheap dirt movies where like the movies are super inexpensive, so that way whenever they make money, it's not that huge of a risk. And if they make a little bit of money, even if it's like what Jackass is doing, where it's a little bit for what would be a blockbuster, but it's pretty good for this type of movie. That's what they're doing, which makes a lot of sense. Cheap dirt movies are a lot less risky and they can make a lot more profit, which makes sense. And we see that with another movie that I'm gonna have in this list, and that is Marry Me. And Marry Me had a second weekend drop of 53%, which is actually pretty good. Actually, that's a pretty good hold, especially considering that it was simultaneously released on Peacock. That's really good, earning $3.7 million on its 3-day weekend, which is really, really good. Like I said, it was simultaneously released on Peacock, which makes it even more impressive. And on Peacock, according to Universal, or like the chairman there, they mentioned that this movie has been #1 on Peacock for all the days since its release, with the exception of Sunday or whenever the Super Bowl took place, because Super Bowl was #1 that day, which makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it's a Super Bowl, but besides that, that just shows the movie is doing really, really good on streaming and on theaters, so that makes it even more impressive. So that's really good. It was also the #1 movie in Valentine's, so clearly it did its job, which was make a lot of money during Valentine's. It did that job very, very well. This puts the domestic total of the movie at $17.4 million, which, like I said, is pretty good. It's not like, oh, it's amazing, it's a huge hit, but it's like it's good. It's good. It's right there. Internationally, the movie has been doing a little bit better at $19.1 million total internationally, which is pretty good, like I said. So this puts the movie's total box office in general at $36.6 million, which, like I said, not great, but it's doing good. It's doing solid. It's doing good. And this is especially good whenever you consider that the budget of the movie is $23 million. So the movie's definitely going to make some profit, which is really, really good. So that's great. It's doing profit there. It's getting a lot of viewership in Peacock. I would consider this movie a box office hit. If you haven't seen the movie and you're wondering if you should check it out, check out my review right here, where I tell you whether it's worth watching or not, and whether it's worth watching on theaters or on Peacock. Go ahead and check it out. I definitely think you'll enjoy that review if you want to know that. So yeah. And lastly, just a little quick mention for other two movies. Moonfall is doing terrible. It's already out of the top 10. It I think has like $30-something million overall total. So the fact that it's doing that low, it's incredible. It's definitely going to be a huge, huge flop, especially with its $146 million budget. The movie is probably going to be the biggest flop of the year. So Moonfall is doing really, really bad. And then Sing 2 is still making a lot of money for some reason. Like Sing 2 is doing incredible in theaters and everything. So that's great for Sing 2, showing once again that family movies are doing really, really good on theaters. So that's good. And so yeah, that was the box office breakdown for this weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. I love that we finally have some movies to talk about. Like there's actually a lot of movies to talk about, so that's really good. I think that's really enjoyable. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video, or you hopefully found it informative, and if you did, then please leave a like. It would be very helpful, so please leave a like. As well as subscribe for other content. I'm have like a full breakdown of the February box office next week, so subscribe for that video, which is definitely a lot more informative and a lot more interesting as well. So subscribe for that video, and a lot of other videos on just movies and TV shows. Subscribe for that. And also leave a comment below on which movies that you see, or are you planning to see any other movies. I'm definitely curious. Tell me that down in the comments. And yeah, that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is Jerry Entertainment out.